Hey guys, it's me, Mario, and today we're going to continue Arcta, the mountain giant. How are you all doing today? Hope you're doing great. I sure am. With boredom and all of that, and quarantine, and whatever. And all of it. I've been doing great. Despite not seeing my friends for I haven't seen any of my friends since last November, I think. Yeah, that was a long time ago. What? In the Shadow of the Mountain, Chapter 3 of Arcta the Mountain Giant. Tom and Ellen awoke late. The sun was already shining brightly into the mouth of the cave. Every muscle in Tom's body ached. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, he gazed in amazement at the cave walls. They were covered with ancient drawings. It had been too dark, and he had been too tired to notice them the night before. The drawings had been made with charcoal and seemed to be telling a story. Tom recognized the 5 jagged mountains and simple pictures of men with spars and clubs. In one picture, an enormous hand held the mountains in its palm. The men were looking up at it in awe. Elena woke up. He was studying the drawings. "What are they?" she asked. "I don't know," said Tom, but they're very old, and it looks as if everyone knew about the mountain giant a long time ago. It's late. We should get moving, Elena said, standing up. "All right," Tom agreed. Tearing his eyes away from the drawings, he took hold of Storm's reins and followed Elena to the mouth of the cave. They stood blinking in the sun. The mudslide had left a thick scar on the landscape, blocking the main mountain road. To get round it, they would have to follow the muddy scar down into the next valley, then climb back up to the road. Tom and Elena walked beside Storm and Silver at their heels. It was a steep journey down into the valley, with a sheer cliff on one side. The ground was covered in mud, pebbles, and rumble, and Tom and Elena had to pick their way carefully, their feet slipping and sliding. One wrong step and it would be a very long fall. When they reached the bottom of the valley, Tom looked at his map. Then he gazed around. This is strange, he said. We're in a valley surrounded by 5 peaks, and the glowing path ends here. We should have reached the town by now, but it's nowhere to be seen. They walked on. Then suddenly a loud crack rang out from beneath Storm's hooves. What was that? Tom asked. Crouching down, he quickly leered away some of the dust. His hands scraped against something. It was a piece of slate neatly overlapped by others. Roof tiles, he said, then realized where they were. Elena were standing on a roof. What? They're standing on a... Oh. You're standing on a roof. Oh my god. Okay then. Elena looked up at the bare rock face above them, which was crisscrossed by a web of cracks. This is a house buried by a landslide, she cried. The mountain could collapse any minute. Look, said Tom, pointing to a shape further up the valley. It was the top of an archway. I think there's a whole street buried under this rubble. Using the archway as a guide, they worked up where the street must have been. Hope there weren't any people in that town. Wow. Using the archway as a guide, they worked out where the street must have been. Then they made their way over the rubble. Beyond the archway, they found a part of town built into the mountainside. The landslide hadn't buried these buildings. The houses were grand and tall, with wooden fronts, and the street in front of them was neatly lined with cobblestone. But the place seemed deserted. I hope everyone managed to get to safety, said Elena. Silver sniffed the air. He growled uneasily and looked towards the jagged mountain peaks. What's wrong, boy? Helena held him by the scruff of his neck, but he strained against her grip. Helena, Silver never disobeyed Elena. Silver never disobeyed Elena. She pointed at the cobbled street. We're going this way. She looked at Tom. What's wrong with him? But as she spoke, shouts came from further down the street. Stop thieves! Everyone yelled and jumped into... Everyone yelled. Tom jumped onto Storm and Elena leaped up behind him. He drew his sword and pressed his heels against the horse's sides. Storm didn't need telling twice. He bolted along the cobble street towards the sound of trouble. Silver isn't following us, Elena cried. Silver isn't following us, Elena cried. The wolf stood motionless, still staring towards the mountains. "We'll go back for him," Tom told her. Storm thundered over the cobblestone, making it difficult for them to hold on. "Right now, someone needs our help." They turned into a narrow back alley. 3 men's sacks slung over their shoulders were blocking the way. "Whoa, Storm!" Tom eased his horse to a standstill. "What's happening here?" The tallest man noticed Tom's sword and smiled. Well, a bold little knight." An old man came puffering and panting round the corner, pointing a finger at the 3 men. "Don't let them pass," he cried, leaning heavily against the wall of a house as he caught his breath. "They're robbing food from people's houses." "What else can we do?" snapped the small fat man, shifting the heavy sack on his shoulder. "We have families to feed. This month's supplies never came. You knew that." "You knew that," added the thin man next to him. "We need something to eat, but those things are not yours to take. Bleh," said the old man sternly. The 3 men looked at one another. Their expressions hardened. Their expressions hardened. Tom looked at the thieves and saw desperation in their faces. They didn't look dishonest. Thanks to Malvol's curse, good people were stealing in order to survive. Then the tallest man bounced his fists and turned back to Tom. "Get out of our way, boy," he said, "or you'll live to regret it." And that was chapter 3. I blathered on. I stumbled upon a few words at the end there, but it's fine. Everyone is not perfect. Nobody is. But we all have to live with each other. We all have to live with one another. And all that. Man, it is hot in this closet. Well, I hope you guys enjoy my videos. And I hope I will see you in the next one. Alright. Have an awesome rest of your day. See ya.